Terence Crawford is really pushing for a fight against Canelo Alvarez, and now he's accusing Canelo of avoiding the fight. Some pros believe that this is an excellent fight to make, and they like Terence's chances against Canelo. Tim Bradley stated, "I think Crawford will be a lot better on the inside than Canelo. Although Canelo is strong, I think that Crawford will be able to maneuver and push him in certain ways and get certain shots off, whereas a guy like Charlo didn't have that ability. If he can go up to 168 and beat that Canelo Alvarez, that's historical stuff, and I think that Crawford is willing to do it. He's that crazy. I would back him because I think he's different." Abel Sanchez likes Crawford as a fighter, but he doesn't think that Canelo has anything to gain from fighting Crawford. Abel stated, "I scoffed at the idea of him even considering Crawford. Canelo's got nothing to gain by doing that. We're going to have more detractors after that one. Crawford is a great fighter. Crawford looked great in his last fight." Sean Porter believes there are so many more aspects that need to be analyzed before making a proper prediction.
About conditioning, it ain't no secret. We all can look and say, right around 9 rounds is when Canelo starts to really decline in his punch output. Statistically, look at it. His punch output just significantly dives. This fight, what we didn't see from Canelo, because he didn't have to do it, we didn't see him fight in spurts. He's going to fight in spurts against Terence Crawford.
That's right.
Terence is going to challenge him both offensively, defensively, and also not only challenge that, but challenge that gas tank.
That's very much. See, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to question Crawford. You don't have to question him.
And what do we know about Bud? Bud got it at the end of the fight.
Keyshawn Davis really thinks that Crawford has a great chance against Canelo, and he doesn't think that the weight jump would bother him too much. Keyshawn stated, "I don't know. I think he can beat Canelo. I think your real question is, how much is that weight going to affect him? Is that weight going to affect him? I don't know. I think it's a question all of us just have to wait and see, even for him. He never did this." Bob Arum doesn't like Crawford's chances at a higher weight, but he definitely thinks that he owns 147. Bob stated, "I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford, and I told you when he fought Spence that Crawford would beat the hell out of him. But Canelo is a different proposition. It's an interesting fight, but I think there's only one winner. Canelo is used to fighting at a particular level, and I don't think that Terence can hurt Canelo. But Canelo can hurt Terence, but at 147, I think Crawford is unbeatable." Oscar De La Hoya doesn't think that Terence stands a chance at a bigger weight against Canelo, and he stated, "Obviously, Crawford is the craftier boxer, but Canelo has the size, he has the power, and like Bob Arum said, he'll run right through him." Canelo Alvarez has been very open to the idea of passing on this fight, and he doesn't think that he'd get the proper credit for beating Crawford. Canelo stated, "They're talking about the fight with Gervonta. I think he said, nobody is going to give me credit if I beat him. It's the same thing. I think it's a no. You guys know. Don't try to make that kind of fight." Roy Jones Jr. definitely thinks that Canelo's weight would be a problem, but he wants Terence to test his skills against other heavier fighters. Roy stated, "I think he's a little big for Crawford. I'm not sure about that because Crawford has punching power and he's sharp. But I think Canelo showed that he's pretty big. If he does well against Canelo at the weight, then let's see him move up and fight Canelo. Yes, but not now. I want to see Crawford move up the weight classes and prove he can be dominant at 154. Crawford's been very open about fighting heavier fighters, and he was open to fighting Canelo or Jermell Charlo depending on who won that fight.
You want to go up to 68. So who would you fight at 68? Canelo?
If he win, or Charlo, the winner.
Wow. That would be crazy.
I want to be 3-time undisputed.
To jump up like that, 21 pounds?
Yes.
What do you walk around at?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, you don't want to tell me.
I don't know.
After seeing how Jermell lost to Canelo, Terence has shrugged away any idea of fighting him. Terence stated, "You went out sad, didn't even try to win, all you did was try to survive. You should be ashamed of yourself." Jermell Charlo still wants a piece of Crawford even though he lost to Canelo. Jermell stated, "I guess the winner of him and Brian Mendoza or whoever I gotta fight. I'm down to fight whoever. I want to fight Terence Crawford. That. I could fight Terence Crawford in my weight division. I know he's somewhere around this joint. I'll fight Terence Crawford. Let him fight Errol Spence in a rematch and get that out of the way. I'm about to get right back in training. Don't worry about it. While doing an interview on the Sean Porter Show, Showbiz the adult talked about how he could hear the punches that Canelo was hitting Jermell with, and he thinks Canelo would beat Crawford.
What up, Biz? Who you got? Canelo, Crawford?
Yeah.
Got Canelo. I heard the punches that he hit Charlo with.
And you was back further than me.
Yeah.
I wasn't back that
Boom.
far, but you was back
Boom.
further.
Damn, I was in the nosebleed. No, I was like,
Nah, you getting money. You got
but I'm
He was coming.
I don't know if Crawford can absorb those punches.
As for the potential fight against Canelo, Antonio Tarver believes that Crawford would be more competitive than Jermell was. Tarver stated, "I think it's going to be a much better fight, and it's going to be more competitive, and I think that outcome is up for grabs. It depends on if Canelo's size has the same effect that it affected Charlo, that it would affect Bud that way. But I think Bud is a different animal, a different beast." James Toney actually offered to train Terence to prepare him for a fight with Canelo. James stated, "It would be huge. If that fight happens, I would go back into camp with Crawford and show him how to do it for real. I love Bomac, but if he can't help him, I'll make sure it gets done. That will be cooked. Fish fried, hot ribs. Canelo can be knocked out. He ain't all that. He's not James Toney. He's not in my mother league. He can't hold my bag." Meanwhile, Canelo doesn't think that Terence has really fought anyone of note aside from Errol Spence. Canelo stated, "No, look, like I always said, I respect Terence Crawford. He's a very talented fighter, but he just won one big fight. If you see his record, he just beat one good fighter in Errol Spence. Other than that, I don't think he's beaten other great fighters like Spence." Shakur doesn't think Terence has anything to worry about with Canelo.
I think Bud could beat Canelo. Like I said, I've been saying this. I don't think size win fights. I think skills do. So yeah, I think like being a southpaw with good movement and sharp boxing, it'd be hard for Canelo with that high guard to walk him down and load up on them big hooks. I think Bud would beat Canelo.
Jermell Charlo even put his own predictions out for the potential fight, and he thinks that Canelo would take care of business. Jermell stated, "If it happens, it won't interfere with my plans at all. I think Crawford might be too small for Canelo. He can't blow up as much as Canelo. It's entertaining to hope for, but I don't pick the fights." Leonard Ellerby actually thinks there's another fight that needs to happen first. Leonard stated, "Terence Crawford, as a fan, I want to see him fight Boots. That's the fight I want to see. I want to see that fight." After beating Jermell Charlo, Canelo made it clear that a fight against Terence Crawford just isn't going to happen. Canelo stated, "I always say if a fight makes sense, why not? But he's not in the plan." Canelo has been open to coming down in weight before, and once he said that he was going to come down to 160 to fight Errol Spence. Canelo stated, "It's an interesting fight. Errol Spence is a great fighter. If he wants to go up in weight, then that could be a good fight. That's something we could still do. We could still go down to 160. Terence just brought up this interview from 2020, and he feels like Canelo is just avoiding him now. What's y'all's thought on Canelo saying he can make a fight with Spence at 160? But for me, he says I can't make the weight. Wouldn't make a difference, just a thought. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.